All right, everyone. You already know who it is. But in case you forgot, I'll give you a slight reminder. It's your best friend, your good Judy, your next door neighbor, your niece, your nephew, your cousin, the guy you passed by in the grocery store, your great auntie, and your gunkle. I am Norman J. Liverpool the Fourth, and I am the Confident Lifestyle Coach. Okay, and I am so excited to come to you on a Thursday night. This is Thursday and share with you. So, without further ado, we're not going to waste no time. I'm going to bring my special guest onto the screen and I'm going to allow her to introduce herself. Oh, I'm hearing myself. That's why. I'm going to allow her to introduce herself and tell us a little bit more about what she does. And then we're just going to make ourselves available to you for this happy hour to not only drop gems and give you some tools in your confidence and mindset journey, but also to take your questions and comments on the spot. All right, so without further ado, honey, the one and only Miriam speaks.
Hi,
Hey, girl.
how are you?
Good. Thank you so much for being with me this evening.
Thank you for having me. Is my head being cut off a
Yes,
little
it
bit?
is on
Okay,
the top. There we
okay,
go.
okay. There we go. I'm like, wait a minute.
So,
We can
Miriam,
start off with half of our head tonight.
I love it. I love it. So, for those of you, you know what? Let me log on really quick. And while I'm doing this, feel free to go ahead and introduce yourself, Miriam.
Thank you. I'm so grateful to be here tonight, everyone. Thursday, I just finished an amazing workout, so I'm pumped up. I'm excited for tonight. And my name is Miriam. I'm a woman empowerment coach. I teach women how to release limiting beliefs and really have confidence and live life without limits. I'm grateful to be here tonight. I'm excited for questions and I just want to get involved in this conversation. Thank you for having me, Norman.
Awesome. Awesome. So, Miriam, I think it's important for people to know a little bit about how we have come to know one another and just kind of how this relationship transpired. So, can you touch a little bit about that?
Sure. So it's been such a blessing, really. I went through this very difficult time in my life in 2019, facing postpartum depression and really having many challenges. And then I heard about Chandra Brooks, who's our coach. I read about everything that she did within the community and how she helped women build their businesses, build their confidence. So that's when I reached out to Chandra. And you were part of the powerhouse. You were the only man at that point who was part of the powerhouse. So once I started learning more about you, what your values and what you stand for, teaching people how to be confident, I thought it was such a great connection because I love doing that also. And I think that we both have a lot of things in common. So that's how we started our relationship.
And you know what's so interesting is when I moved into the coaching space, especially in confidence, I was really shocked at the amount of people who thought that it was just for people that were going to be speakers or authors or, entrepreneurs. But it's really for, I mean, it's for everyone. And
Mhm.
it was interesting that people automatically associated that with something that was outside of them. And that
Yeah.
was the feedback that I got. What was some of the feedback that you got when you moved into the coaching space?
Well, initially the feedback was not positive, right? And a lot of the times, I think for me especially was probably my family and friends that were just like, "What's coaching?" And but you're not certified, you're not a doctor. How can you tell people, give people advice? Or
Right.
so people that don't understand what coaching is was very difficult for them to actually believe in it. I think once people have seen the transformation that my clients have, including my family, they're like, whoa. And one of my clients really put it in a very nice way. She said, a coach is not like a best friend, your mom, your sister. A coach is someone who's able to guide you through their experiences and who could teach you what works based off of their experience. So I
Right.
think to me, that's what a coach is. But initially, a lot of people around me were confused.
Yeah, and I got some of that too, because I mean there is a very distinct difference between a therapist and a coach.
Yep.
And I think that there's the need for both, you know.
Yeah.
So while we are doing that, everyone, if you have any questions, go ahead and you can type them right below in the comments, or you can email me. But we just want to get into this. So one of the things that I find fascinating just about empowerment is that it's almost maybe that it's like we've been indoctrinated to give our power away,
Mm-hmm.
to recognize our power. Like we're taught to do that. So in your practice with your clients, what is it that you do to say, no, that's been there all the time, but now let's get to work?
So that's such a great point. And I actually just did a live, I think yesterday or the day before. A lot of us are trained to be quiet and just take it, right? Like you should be grateful for what you have. Don't expect too much and just do what you have. And if you stand up for yourself, you're basically, at least for me, like, oh my gosh, you're such a bitch. Excuse my language. Like
No,
that's
don't excuse me.
inappropriate. And what I teach my clients is no, you have to stand up for what you believe. And initially it's difficult, right? Because you feel like I don't want to have I don't want to challenge anyone. I don't want to be
Right.
comfortable. It's my safe place. But really that's owning your power and owning your authority. And if something goes against your values, you should be able to say, no, I don't think so. But again, for me, what I've learned, including with myself and with my clients, it takes practice.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Initially, you're not just born like that, especially in some of our cultures, we're raised to believe that we have to be quiet and basically take it.
Right. Right.
So definitely it takes practice, and it definitely takes someone to say, I'm done. I have to live for myself. I have to stand up for myself, and my words matter.
And you know, and with that, it's I don't know where or how this happens, but we literally have to reprogram our mind.
Yep.
It's a complete reprogramming. You know, and one of the first things that I tell my clients is the first thing we need to do is identify on these areas that you're looking to increase your confidence. When did it start?
Yes.
Oh, and for me, I realized that it started for me in my early childhood because it had to do with the fact that I'm gay and I acted a way that was not similar to the other men or males in my family. And so I was taught from a very early age that who you are as a person is something that you should hide. It's not right. You're going to hell. Be quiet. You know, like all of that. And so it took me personally years to go through all of that junk and really say, no, that was all bullshit. And now this is what it is. What
Yeah.
did you have something similar, similar to that?
Definitely. So in my household, I always knew I was different. And I always knew that I was too loud. I was doing too
Mhm.
much. I was asking too many questions. I couldn't stay still. And a lot of my family, would say like, just go sit down, stop asking questions. Just do what I told. Even simple questions that as a child, right, you want to know, or I was
Right.
talking too much. So I think I grew up with that belief that I was too much, and too much was unacceptable. And I was always feeling left out and feeling like
Mhm.
I wanted people to accept me. For as
Yeah.
long as I can remember, I just wanted to be accepted. But you know what I learned, Norman, as we're talking about it, as I gained this awareness, this self-awareness, and started really my personal development journey, I felt like not that I wasn't enough for others, I wasn't enough for myself. So that's
Mm.
when I started really the personal development journey. Like you said, I had a therapist, but with my coach, I was able to bring this extra out of me that I didn't even know existed. And like you said, it's definitely retraining our brain, because for so
Yeah.
long we've been programmed to think that we're not good enough, or maybe we're just too much.
And you know what's so interesting is I remember being told to tone it down, and being told to be quiet. And now I have reprogrammed my mind to literally live the loudest version of my life.
Yes.
Do that unapologetically and unashamed. I want to bring something to us that we can discuss. So, what advice would you have, Miriam, to someone who knows they want to help people, but there's something holding them back? They're not able to identify that thing, but they know, like, I want to help people. I'm passionate about that, but something is holding them back from taking that next step. What advice would you have to that person?
So some of my clients have come to me first not knowing what their it, right? Like, what is my why? I don't know. So initially, I think what holds us back is fear. We're
Mm-hmm.
afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of digging deeper. We're afraid of getting uncomfortable. And there's just so much fear. So what I believe that has worked for my clients, including myself, it's doing it even if you're afraid. And in order to really find something that your passion, think about something that makes you cry. Like, what is that one thing that when you think about it, just really pushes you to another level? And that's where your why will begin. For example, for me, it's domestic violence because I was a victim of it. So I'm passionate to empower women because I don't want them to be victimized. So that's where it starts building. So if you want to find your why, something that really brings you to this place where you are empowered, think about things that really get you going, whether it's child abuse, whatever it might be. And that might be your thing, or that might be your starting point. And then later it might change. But definitely give yourself a chance and find those people that are willing to support that. I think a lot of the times that we're afraid, find a community that will uplift you and bring the best out of you.
I believe that. Listen, I just had a question come through to the email. I'm going to see if I can put that up here. Oh, here we go. See, I'm learning. So
Yay.
it says, how did you come to empower women after being a victim of domestic violence? And I think that is so powerful because I know women and men who have been in domestic violence situations. So what was that journey for you to be like, no, I didn't go through this just to go through it. I need to share my story and help other women.
So first, domestic violence, it's a very sensitive topic and a very sensitive situation because there's so many things involved. In my relationship, there was a child involved. But I think after a certain time of going through this experience over and over with my ex-partner, one day I just had enough. Like one day I decided that I wanted something better for myself. And it's crazy because a friend told me this one time, and I don't know if it's my echo. Is there an echo with me or no?
I don't hear it.
Oh, okay, good. Sorry, I thought it was something. But one of my friends told me one time, she said, you're gonna know that you need to go when it's time. Because when you're a victim of domestic violence, it's like a wheel, right? It's a cycle. You go through your good moments with your partner, then it's horrible, then it's good again. And for some women, including myself, when people were telling me to leave, I just couldn't find it within myself. And then one day I said, that's enough, never again. So I left this relationship and it was one of the hardest things that I had ever done. But it was one of the best things that I ever did for me and my son, because I didn't want my son to grow up with this belief. So from that experience, I know how difficult it is. And that's why I want to teach women how to gain confidence within themselves. So when they're ready to move on, they don't need the other person. A lot of the times women are dependent because of the financial aspect, the family, there's just so many things. But when you gain your confidence, you build your business. Some of my clients have started their business. You don't need that person financially anymore. So when you're ready to go, that doesn't hold you back. And that's how I started my empowerment, by using that also as fuel to teach other women how to stand strong on their own.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And for me, I have a very similar story in that I used my personal experiences to launch my coaching business, I talk about it all the time about the duality of being Black and gay, right? The one of the things as soon as you see me, the other one as soon as I open my mouth, right? And so living that duality was very, and still sometimes can be very challenging, because I find that you're too gay for Black people and too Black for non people of color. You know what I'm saying? And it's always this constant thing to not be too gay or too Black. And I want to disrupt that whole narrative. I want to be gay AF and Black AF, and I am. And that is why I decided to share my story. And mostly that was due to the fact that I looked around and I didn't see anyone that looked like me, like me, that expressed themselves like me. And that's how I knew who my tribe was, because I felt like I have to come for all my unicorns, right? Like my people that have gone through something, whether it is, the challenges of coming out, the challenges of being a person of color, and even the challenges of just being a woman. Do you know what I'm saying? I posted a couple of days ago on my Facebook, and it was just like the man was telling the woman, your job, your role is my wife, to make the home, to do these things. And how many of our women, our females, that grow up with that mentality and then have to battle with what they've been indoctrinated with versus what they feel on the inside, what they know is that burning passion. And for me, like you said, think about that thing that makes you cry. I challenge you to think about that thing that pisses you off.
Mm-hmm.
Thing that when you get to thinking about it, your hands start to shake. You get, jumpy and super emotional. That is the thing. And that's what I love to see when that connection happens. When the client connects to that thing that is their passion, and you see it light up for the first time, that's gold to me.
I love, love, love that. And you brought up an amazing point, our unicorns. We have to stand up for anyone that's out there who wants to start something, for whatever that makes you cry, that makes you angry, that thing.
Right.
I feel that when you are not doing it, living in your purpose, you're keeping that from others. And this is a gift that was provided and given to you. And that's what actually fuels me, Norman. When I think about it, some days it's challenging, right? To be a coach, a real estate agent, now a mother working for the courthouse. Like, some days are difficult. And then I remind myself, I'm doing it to serve, to help those women that need me, that today might be having a challenging day and they need my story. They need my services. So that's what I tell my clients that are starting something and get fear, thrown at them, or they start getting afraid. You are keeping this from someone that needs you. And like you, Norman, there's a lot of people that are benefiting from your story, from your strength, your courage to come out and just be loud. And you're such a strong leader, and we need you. There's so many people that need us.
And you know what, girl? It's so crazy, because I feel the same for you, because I feel like there's so many women, and I know some of these women that have fortunately got out of the domestic violence situation or out of an abusive situation, but are still scared to share their story. Like, they're out of it and doing well now, but they're dealing with it in an internal way where it's kind of not even acknowledged, right? So can you talk about how that's dangerous, like to overcome something and to not acknowledge it?
I think that that's also very challenging, and I lived it myself. When you're holding on to the story, and your story is whatever has brought you to this point, when you're holding on, you're afraid of people knowing you're not 100% your true self. When you're holding on to these events that happen and you don't want anyone finding out, that's how I lived for many years. And I didn't want too many people getting too close or finding out too much information. And that's keeping you from living your true story and your true life. So what I encourage women is starting from a safe place. Sometimes some of my activities from my program is Reach out to a person, tell them about you or something that has happened to you. Like open yourself up, someone that
Right.
you trust, whether it's or me, tell me something that you don't want people knowing. And that's how you start telling your story or just really owning your truth and owning your experiences. Because ultimately those are the ones that bring you here. And for a lot of us that are afraid to share, that keeps us in that same place and we can't really grow because we're trapped in our experiences in our past.
And you want to know what's so interesting? So I have coined a term called closeter. And
Mm.
for me, that term means a lot because as a gay person, we come out of the closet. But I have coined it to mean anyone, whether you're part of the LGBTQ plus community or not. It's anyone that tries to get you to mute your story, to
Mm-hmm.
to shut up, to be quiet, to feel small. And in the work that I've done with my clients, I've realized that the majority of the people that are in your life that say, don't tell your story, it's bad, you're bad, are the people who did the fucked up shit to us.
Mm-hmm.
Now they don't want that to be exposed. And so they want you to diminish who you are so it doesn't reveal them as the villain in your story.
Mm-hmm.
And they literally try to rob you of everything that is powerful within you because the story is so much bigger than them.
Yep.
But them, they're the biggest part. And they don't realize that, okay, girl, yeah, you fucked up, boo. But it's so much more than that. And I even had to realize that I was that to other people. And so that was the most troubling realization is that, and this was, part of my process in coming to where I'm at today, is that I was trying to get people to be quiet because I didn't own the fact that I fucked up in people's stories. But the moment I was able to release that and say, you know what, you do the best you have with what you got. I didn't do better because I didn't know better. And I can really come into you and apologize for that. I was able to release myself from that situation and move forward because we all are going to be the bad people in somebody's story, right? Even
Yeah.
if true or not, you know what I'm saying? They can just look at you and say, "Oh, Miriam is pretty. I hate her." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so that was something that was very pivotal to me in as identifying the closeters and creating boundaries around them so that they do not affect your present and your future.
I absolutely love what you're saying. And I got the same feedback. Like, why are you saying that? It's like the story's not about you. It's my story. You are just you played a role, even with my father who had the biggest impact in my life. He used to mentally and physically abuse me. And even with him, you know what's so interesting? I was having a conversation now that we have a healthier relationship, and he said, "Do what you need to do, sweetheart. I don't care. Tell your story if that helps you. I'm sorry for what I did, but you tell your story." And with my other family members, I have found that people are like, she's saying too much. It's like, it's not about you. It's
Mm-hmm.
about me liberating myself and
Mm-hmm.
feeling
Mm-hmm.
free and being who I want to be. And sharing
Yeah.
my story gives me strength and reminds me of where I've been and where I'm going. And within
Yeah.
that, it's like, I am not owning your insecurities. I'm sorry. Those are your insecurities. I'm living my truth. And if you're not comfortable with that, too bad.
That's
And
right. And the people that really love us and really want to see, excuse me, really see us move into our purpose, that's exactly what they tell you. Just like you, I had when I came out, the relationship with my mother was very tumultuous. And I'm sure she's watching this now or she'll watch the replay. And one of my very first speaking topics was, "You won't live to see 30 words from your mother."
mhm.
And that, you have to go back, to the way that you felt that, and when that was said to you, and the emotions and all of that. But what has been so beautiful about the relationship with my mom is that she owned that and she did the work. Like, what people don't understand is, especially in the LGBTQ plus community, you're a part of the community just by being associated with me, right?
Mhm.
And what my mom did was she dismounted years of religious crap that she was taught about so many different things, and had to reprogram her mindset for something that was completely outside of herself. And so to me, I'm like, you get the award, like, to be able to reprogram and relearn things, after 60 years of being taught something, and to be able to shift. That is one of the reasons why I'm like, I've got to get into this coaching space, because I'm seeing it all around me. And
Yes.
you really are dedicated and committed to doing the work. You do the work.
And you know what? I love that because my father too, he's 60 something years old. And we had a conversation. I was meditating one day and I was reliving an experience that I went through with him. And I just called him. I remember I was like sobbing on the phone. This was like 6 months ago. And I'm like, remember when you did this? And he started crying on the phone with me. And you know what's so amazing? He said, can I be a client of yours? Can I join your limitless coaching program? And I thought it was so funny. I'm like laughing and crying on the phone with him because he's been doing the work and he understands that he made some choices based off of his experiences that he
Mhm.
thought were the best, right? He didn't know better, like you said earlier. He didn't know better. So my goal is to have peace and love in my life. And he's willing to do the work and acknowledge his part, but his journey is his journey. And my journey, that's also something I teach my clients. Even if someone did something that hurt you, let it go. And I know it's hard and it's easy to say, but it's hard to do. But in order to free yourself, you can't relive this experience over and over and condemn these people. Because ultimately, you're the one that's affecting yourself.
And we also have to take responsibility.
Yeah.
Like, for example, there was so many years that I, like, anything that was like fucked up in my life or wrong in my life, it was my dad's fault, right?
Mhm.
Because there. So, it was really easy to do that. And it wasn't until years later, after doing the work, that I said, well, at what point is he no longer responsible for the choices that I'm actively choosing to make?
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying? Whether it's due to my conscious, my subconscious, but at what point is this other adult, do you know what I'm saying, no longer responsible for the decisions that I make and the things that I'm going through? And me and my dad, we live in the same city, and Las Vegas is not huge. And we didn't see each other for years.
Mhm.
Years. I even had to contract with someone to help me find him.
Mm.
And now our relationship is so different because I don't hold him responsible for my stuff. Do you,
Exactly.
like, I was talking with my sister yesterday, and when my dad was my age, when my parents were my age, I was 10. My sister was 8. They had mortgages and businesses and like, who knows what that looked like. And so they did the best they could with what they had.
Yes.
Now, as an adult, I have to do the work to be who I'm meant to be, truly and authentically, right?
Exactly.
And that was the craziest realization, because I put so much weight and pressure on my parents in my adulthood for my adulthood. And I realized that, Norman, you got to create a boundary around your past. Because a lot of times we think that boundaries are just around people. Like, I'm going to say no to this bitch, or I'm going to say, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's not just about the people. It's about creating boundaries around our own experiences and our different phases and stages of our life so that we can acknowledge it, see it for what it was, appreciate how that has created the person we are today, but leave it there.
Exactly. And you know what, Norman, that takes work. You have to work at it every day because it's easier to blame someone else. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was a victim in my childhood. I was a victim, a domestic violence victim. I can't blame everyone else and not make progress in my life, right? Like I have ownership. And that's where this comes, like owning your stuff, owning your freedom, and owning your choices. Like you said, you were also a part of that, right? So for me, I chose to be in this relationship. It wasn't healthy. And now I learned that in my future relationships, I don't want that for me. But I can't
Right.
blame other people because I was also a part of it.
Right. And it's about, and to me what happens is it gets into this complex game of placing blame.
Yeah.
Where so my new thing, Miriam, and you know, we talked a little bit about a situation that I'm going through. But my new thing is if you say it, that's it. I'm not fighting with anybody about it. So if I'm the bad guy, fine. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to put that energy into justifying myself. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
If that's what you feel, like that's obviously not the truth. But if you need me to be the bad guy in your story, do that, do the work, and hopefully move on from it. But I'm no longer about the business of actively convincing people about who I am. Because when you live the confident lifestyle, there's not a place for that. There's not a place for that because we would constantly be doing that with everyone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Miriam, you know what? I just talk to the woman who is watching right now and it's like, I really want to work with a coach, but I don't know how to begin. Because a lot of people see us in the coaching spaces and they try to identify with where we are now, but we were just where they were. I remember working with Chandra and you know talking about the time investment and the financial investment, and I was like, Miss Thing, so what was your experience when you were like, I know I need to work with the coach, and how did you get over that fear or whatever that was holding you back from wanting to or to taking action to working with the coach?
So the fear for me was the financial part because I didn't know if I was going to be able to afford it. And honestly, what I said, Norman, is I'm not investing specifically in Chandra, right? My coach, I'm investing in myself. Do I believe that I'm worth it? Do I believe that after joining her program, my life will change? Yeah, I did my research right, and I found that she was the place where I wanted to go in the future. But I believed in what I was bringing to the table and that I was going to do the work. Something special was going to come out of it. So a lot of the times we focus on the what ifs, the fear, and we don't focus on the what it can be, right? So regardless, for me, when I went in with Chandra, I knew, like, to me it was a pleasure to give her my money because I knew that my life was going to change. I didn't even know what I was going to create. I didn't know my coaching program was going to be come out of that. Honestly, I just knew I was sick and tired of the same thing over and over. And I was tired of the bullshit going to work every day, coming home, not knowing what my life would look like. And I just didn't want to wait and see any longer.
Listen, you are speaking to the choir. For me, it happened in 2019 when I began to communicate with Chandra, and I had put in a PTO request, and it was denied. And
Mm.
that has happened before, right? It's happened before, but there was something about this time that just really pissed me off. I'm like, so you're going to tell me when I can use my free time, how I can use my free time, how much my time is worth? Like, it boggled my mind. And I knew at that point that I had to make a decision on how I wanted the rest of my life to look. And I started working with Chandra, just like you. I didn't know what was going to come from it, but I knew that I'm passionate about a bunch of stuff. So, amongst some of this stuff, there's a business there. And it just, for me, this is what I do naturally. And
Yeah.
it made sense for me to move into this space, right?
Yeah.
It made sense to do that. And it's been validated by my proof of work, which the same thing as you know what I mean?
You know what? And it's crazy because when I started coaching, I swear it was like natural. It was like flowing out of me. Like this is it. I could
Mm-hmm.
coach women and I can work with women all day long. I'll wake up early to like follow up with my clients. I just absolutely love this space and I didn't even know I had it in me. So it
Right.
doesn't have to be when you work with a coach, it doesn't have to be that you want to be a coach. It doesn't have to be you want to start a business. If you want to just live a lifestyle of confidence, believe in yourself and stand up for yourself, that's what I teach my clients. We don't take any bullshit from anyone. We make things happen because we want to on our terms, not in a negative way, but we stand up for ourselves. And I think what I've seen with my clients is something beautiful comes out of it because you start knowing yourself better and you start believing in yourself. And that's priceless. Like to me, what I did and I spent with Chandra, I would do it all over again. If I were to show you my taxes of how much I spent on training, I knew it was a lot, but when I did my taxes, I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't even know where I got this money from. I spent
But you know,
millions.
but that's the crazy thing is what I've learned, and this is my auntie Linda Hales has taught me to bless my money when it goes out. And
Yes.
understand that money is all about an exchange of energy. So when I invested in Chandra in the powerhouse, yeah, it was a financial obligation. But what it did for me is it shifted my energy into action. And that is all about that exchange of energy. And I had this conversation with my sister last night. When you give someone your money, you that's an energy. And for me as a coach, that's why I have an exploration call at the beginning, because not everyone is meant to work with me.
Yep.
You know, I recently had someone who reached out to work with me, and after doing the exploration call, I referred them to another coach.
Mm-hmm.
It's about energy. It's about
Yep.
the exchange of energy and what accountability are we going to put on ourselves, right? It's easy to say you're not going to go to the gym when you're not paying for a gym membership.
Yes.
But baby, when that direct withdrawal hit, you're gonna try to get up and make something happen.
Exactly.
And so it's all about that emotional shift, that energetic shift.
And you know, as we're talking about energy and money, for me, everything changed when I started viewing paying someone, even paying my bills, as a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I pay my bills or when I pay someone, I say, thank you so much for the service you provided. And that's something that I teach in my program, how to live in gratitude. You're grateful for everything that has happened to you. You're grateful for everything that's coming your way. And even when you're paying a bill, you should be grateful for the service that you received. It's just
Absolutely.
a different mindset and a different lifestyle. But honestly, what I teach my clients is to live in peace and gratitude and really love life and
Mm-hmm.
believe in yourself. And I think that when we don't live that way, it's challenging. We have stressful moments, right? The paychecks come in and you're like worried how you're going to spend your money. You don't want to pay too much. It's like if you think of money in a different way, it'll all just come back to you. It's flowing, right? It's
Right.
not
Right.
stressful. Hmm.
I love that. And you know what? What I have found for me is the more I bless my money going out, like that was a weird concept for me. Like I wrote my rent check and I was like, I bless this money as it goes out to work for me. Right.
Yes.
And that was such a weird thing. I'm like, no, I'm working to get this money and pay the rent. But when I shifted my mindset, I started having more money.
Yes.
Start like I wasn't living that paycheck to paycheck type of thing because I was literally viewing everything in abundance. And so I was truly living in abundance, right? So, Miriam, for those people who are watching tonight and are like, I want Miriam, how can the people connect with you? How can they work with you? Tell us, even if you have, do you have something coming up? What are you working on?
So I have a clarity call, which I can put the link at the bottom. You can reach me at Miriam Speaks or Miriam.speaks on Instagram. I actually have another mindset makeover that's coming up on the 19th or the 29th of this month. I can add the details at the bottom as well.
Here, give
And
it
if
to me. I'm gonna post it. What is the website?
so they can go to my website, which is miriamspeaks.com, or just follow me on miriam.speaks on Instagram. And I honestly, for anyone that's out there that's thinking about working with a coach that's afraid, just reach out to us. You never know. Like we talked earlier, we're not therapists. I think for me, what I learned when I was going through therapy is that my therapist was able to help me there and I did a lot of work. But when I left, my mind was still the same. And the goal is when you work with the coach to retrain your brain so you're able to think differently. So you're able to stop the mind chatter when you start thinking negatively about yourself. We
Right.
teach you how to stop doing that so you believe in yourself and you have confidence. So for anyone that's out there, just reach out to us for a phone call. No one was talking about mine's called a clarity call. What is yours called, Norman?
Exploration.
So we can just have a conversation. We've been where you're at before, right? I wasn't born as a coach. I did a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I invested in myself and I'm still investing in myself. I'm not perfect. I'm still learning as I'm going through my journey, but that's why we need to add more tools to our toolbox.
That's right.
So
That's
just reach out to us. We're just like you. We understand where you've been. We know we've been there before, and we would love to have a conversation with you.
I love that. And I'm going to put my link here. If you want to schedule exploration call with me, you just go to talk.overthetopliving.com. It'll take you directly to my calendar, and you can book a call with me. And the reason why this is important, like I'm actually preparing to start working with a coach that, excuse me, deals it with gay men and relationships and kind of dealing with some stuff that I have there. And I told him, I said, well, just so you know, I'm interviewing a couple coaches and I'm going to get back to you. And just like we have the exploration call, you have do your due diligence also. Like get on the call with Miriam, see what she has to offer, make sure that's a good fit. Get on the call with me, see if what I have to offer is a good fit. And guess what? If you call me and you are looking to be empowered as a woman, I'm going to shift you to Miriam. And that's just the way it works because I understand the lane that I'm in. Now, if you're a woman that's looking to do the things that I work with, then we're good. And so I just want to say, Miriam, I am so happy that we were able to do this this live today. For me, tomorrow you can catch me on Clubhouse. I've been selected as part of the Clubhouse Summit 2021. I'll be speaking at 5 p.m. Eastern, which is 2 p.m. Pacific on Clubhouse. So if you're not following me, I'm at the Mr. Liverpool on Clubhouse, and I'm presenting a talk called The Confident Lifestyle. And it's going to be a 15-minute presentation followed by 15 minutes question and answer. Also, y'all, I am so excited, and this is the first time I'm announcing it like this publicly. My book is in final rounds of editing, and we are set for a release date of March 21st. And so I just want to shout out Shireen Rivera and Rising Above Publishing for the amazing job that they have done. Very soon, I will be sharing the cover art with you and how you can pre-order. But listen, we are out here. If you are on Instagram, go and follow Miriam at miriam.speaks. She posts some amazing content, quotes, affirmations. You know, the people that work with her get a journal, you know, to be able to hold themselves accountable. So I definitely invite you to go to Miriam.speaks on Instagram, go to miriamspeaks.com to connect with her on the web. And I'm sure you will be back because this has just been such an amazing conversation.
I am so grateful to be here. You are such a blessing. Anyone that works with you, I know they're going to get so much out of it. Transformation completely, Norman. You're an amazing person. And I think that there's just so much I'm sure that I'll see from you. So I can't wait to see more. I can't wait to be back. Anyone that's listening, thank you so much for listening to us. If you know anyone that needs our resources or needs assistance, please forward our information or tag them here. And I really appreciate being here tonight.
Yes. Well, all right, friends, we have had our first coaching and cocktails. If you are a coach that is interested on sharing your expertise on the platform, I invite you to connect with me. This is the first one. I don't know how often we're going to do it, but if there's some momentum, let's keep it going. So as I always say, you already know who it is, but in case you forgot, I'll give you a slight reminder. It's your best friend, your good Judy, your next door neighbor, your niece, your nephew, your cousin, the guy you pass by in the grocery store, your great auntie, and your gunko. Don't forget, stay tuned for the Council of Gunkos, the last Wednesday of this month. And it is going to be our love edition. We are going to be doing a little matchmaking live on the show. So friends, we thank you so much for tuning in. And on behalf of Miriam and myself, have a beautiful night.
Bye.